checkered flags, green lights, open doors, make me a track star. Slamming old school, hand me a trophy, 'cause I'm gonna beat you. Time for you to bring it. If you got it, then it's go. Oh, probably gonna win it, and the loser's going home. Give me just a minute, you'll be handing me the goal. Oh, so get your game on, get your game on. Time for you to bring it. If you got it, then it's go. Oh, probably gonna win it, and the loser's going home. Give me just a minute, you'll be handing me the goal. Oh, so get your game on, get your game on.
Hello and welcome to Tournament Talk. I'm Bobby Shoemaker along with Barry Spears. And as we mentioned to you last week, we'll be coming to you on a weekly basis to discuss some select races in hopes of finding you some winners for not only your tournament plays, but your day-to-day wagering. We'll do the same as last week. We'll discuss some races at Belmont Park, as well as Keeneland, and one select race at Santa Anita. So Barry, how you doing tonight?
Doing all right. Hanging out in Florida sun, ready to pick some winners. Let's go.
Well, as we did last week, we're going to go east to west. We'll start at beautiful Belmont Park. Race 9 on the card. It's a 2-year-old fillies stakes race, the Maid of Mitts. It's a huge day for New York racing as New York breds are going at it. A lot of stakes races, but we really found this one to be one that could separate the players from the pack.
Absolutely, and I'm going to start here first with the number 10 horse. She's already. Most likely the favorite in the race, a deserved favorite, out of the Ryerson barn, who is red hot at this point. It can't do anything wrong. The thing about this horse, has a lot of speed, was in the Frizette last time in the slop, and didn't really like the track, I don't think. Should bounce back, but I really have some questions about the distance with this horse, so I'm going to take a pass, but definitely keep an eye out because it's definitely a key contender here. The number 5 horse, who incidentally is my pick, is Melodic, out of the Leah Germani barn. Very, very good trainer, especially off the layoff. A little short rest here for Melodic. Just pulled away from stakes competition, first time in the stake last time. Had some trouble early on, was pretty wide, hit the gate, and still finished the race off. So I'm looking for a repeat performance here and just taking this all the way. There's a couple of horses that I would like to mention. Number 7, the Todd Pletcher horse, Super Surprise, who is incidentally a maiden, but has a lot of potential here. Ran pretty good in a stake, the Seeking the Ante Stakes at Saratoga for state breds. Lost to She's Already, but I think that horse could turn the tables with a good trip. I like it for a little run up here, maybe clunk up for third. And also with Lemon Liqueur with the same kind of thing. Ran a bang-up race first time out, and I think she fired her best shot, and coming back into form should give a good account of herself.
Well, I agree with you that She's Already is the horse to beat, and obviously the morning line odds makers in New York feel the same way, as she's 2-1. I got a story about this horse. I saw her break her maiden live in person when I was in Saratoga, and Barry, she was 8 or 10-1 morning line on Time Form and DRF. And obviously, that time of year, clocker reports mean more than just about any other handicapping tool that you have. And the clocker reports just jumped off the page. And I'm thinking to myself, if I get 8 or 10-1 on this horse, she ends up going off at 2-1. And to see the hand ride and winning this race by 8 1/4 lengths, it was something to see. I haven't seen many horses with that much gate speed at that young of an age in a long time. And obviously, I haven't seen a lot of good horses like that in person, but it was visually impressive. Obviously, she didn't back down in her second start. She ran accordingly. I just think she was up against it last time out. I believe that race was in the slop. She was going the furthest she'd ever been. She was facing some graded stakes horses or facing winners of that caliber for the first time. So I do think she's the horse to beat. The horse that I came up with to try to beat her is the horse on the rail in track play. I liked the race first time out. Thought she showed a lot in her victory. The numbers really came back fast early in the race. Thought she did what she had to do to win the race late. She's got great pedigree. Says that not only she'll like the dirt, but also like the distance. McLaughlin's been on fire. When he and Lascano get together, they mean business. There's 2 jockeys specifically that McLaughlin gets with, he has a lot of success with. That's Joel Rosario and Jose Lascano. I think this horse will improve second time out. I like the fact that it gets the rail. You know, when you have a first-time starter on the rail, for me, Barry, it's a little bit more of a concern. Second start, already been in competition, been in a battle. I think she'll save the ground. I think she's got the pedigree to do it, and it'll be between her and she's already when they come down the stretch. And I like to put my money on Karen McLaughlin, and I would like to stress to the viewers, this is not only a tournament play, this is actually going to be a win wager for me. I really like this horse.
Yeah, no, definitely a lot to like there. Kieran's horses do very, very, very well second time out. So, you know, the only thing I did see about this horse that kind of backed me off was the competition that she ran against that day. The horse that finished second is actually in this race. I believe it's the number 9 horse, Firestarter.
That is correct.
Who is coincidentally 30-1 on the morning line, but after that race, she ran against She's Already and Trap Play. So it's really hard to gauge how good that field is. Gave a much better account of herself. So, you know, Trap Shot could be any kind here, and I don't blame you for taking a shot here, especially at that nice 6-1 morning line price. If you get anywhere near that, you know, it's definitely a play. But, you know, I think Melodic is definitely going to sit off that speed and run them down. So, you know, it should be an exciting race, and, you know, definitely one where you could get a price.
Yeah, so Barry and I both are going against the favorite, and you better believe, guys, that She's Already will not be 2-1. That horse is going to be 8-5, 6-5, something of that nature. And just common sense would tell you, you just got to try to beat that horse late. So we're going to stay at Belmont Park. We'll go to race 11 on the card. And Barry, this is the $200,000 stakes race. It's a 1.16 on the turf for fillies and mares, 3-year-old and up. How do you see this one playing out?
This is a very, very good race, a high-quality race for a state-bred, a New York-bred race. I'm going to start here with number 5, Discreet Mark, who's definitely the horse to beat here. I believe the only Grade 1 winner in the field.
That is correct.
And it's just a runner. I mean, yeah. A horse that I love, near and dear to my heart, because this horse tries every time, gives the best account of herself, and should be, again, in the hunt right from the get-go. Start to finish, this horse is going to be there. However, seems like the horse is tailing off a bit. I believe this is going to be her last race from what I've read. And it's just, I think it's about that time, and I think she might be vulnerable here.
Okay.
Now, that brings me to my next horse, who is the 8, Swear By It, who is coming out of the Chad Brown barn, who's, you know, this horse here is very up and coming, is kind of coming up into stakes company after a run in the Yaddo back in August. Had a really good kick in the final furlong or so, and got beat by a horse in this race called the Teacups, but was 5 wide, made a nice run, and I think this horse is going to improve. Chad off the layoff is just spectacular. Gets top rider in Castellano. I mean, there's really so much to like here, and the 12-1 is such a great price. And it was really hard for me not to pick this horse as my pick. But I think that horse is definitely going to run big and improve. I ended up going with the rail horse, Distorted Beauty. This horse is a full sister to number 7 in the same race here, Invading Humor. Out of Invasor, and you don't see too many Invasor runners here in the United States.
No, you don't.
And the grass runners in particular are very, very good. These two horses, they're a year apart, full sisters, and they run very, very similar. But I think Distorted Beauty has a little bit of the edge here with the post position, and also she's been running an open company coming back into state breds, which is the key here for me. And I think she's going to become running late and pick up the pieces. If I'm anywhere near 5-1 on the morning line, this is going to be the 20 play and a nice, healthy win wager.
Discreet Mark is just the horse to beat, and I think she's much the horse to beat. I think you can throw out the last race. This horse gets back home where I believe she's 5 wins and 9 starts at Belmont Park. She's got 4 wins at 8 starts at this distance. She's going to be forwardly placed. The numbers are there. She's not only running big numbers, she's not only a part of races where there's big numbers, she's winning those races.
Absolutely.
She's just much the horse to beat, Barry. But you did talk about what I believe is a great tournament play, and you know where I'm going here. Chad Brown, Javier Castellano, 2 turns on the turf, 5 wide. It was as though you were looking at my notes. I'm thinking, is Barry stealing my notes here? I mean, so you got to beat the 5. And here's what I want to stress to the tournament players: if you're in the top 5 of your tournament, and I think there's a chance that Discreet Mark may be an overlay just a tad bit. You may see 2 to 1, and here's why I say that. You talked about how this could be your last race, how you think that she may have seen better days. Well, the last race was abysmal, and that was not a good effort. She went off at 2 to 5 and ran poorly. So I think if you get 2 to 1 on Discreet Mark and you're sitting in a good spot in your tournament where you just want to survive in advance and get to the next leg and then look for a shot, I think you go with the 5. But if you need a score, I think the 8 is where it's at. Castellano, Chad Brown went wide, vastly improved Barry last time out. I mean, that was a very good race. And if it don't go 5 wide, probably the winner. And you're not looking at double-digit odds.
Absolutely may have won that race completely. Now, going back to Discreet Mark, like you were saying, and I want to bring up this point, especially to the tournament folks.
Sure.
It's really good and you brought up a good point, to not discount this horse because she's going to be the favorite, especially a 2 to 1 favorite.
Yeah, I think it's a possibility, Barry.
Right, and I'm guilty of this lately. Is undervaluing the ability to cash with a favorite, and that's something that over time and playing in tournaments you'll end up figuring out. But this could be a great tournament play with a favorite that is pretty strong on paper. And it could go a long way. Collecting the $6 to $9 for the win place could affect make or break your tournament. With that being said, with Discreet Mark, there's some things there. She's ran August 28th, no published workout until September 21st. That's a red flag to me, saying the horse may or may not have some physical issues. Something went wrong there, and I think today or Saturday should be the time to try to get her beat, but I wouldn't be surprised if she laps this field.
Yeah, I think the reason that you could see the 2 to 1 is a lot of handicappers just look at what have you done for me lately, and what she did for the bettors at Saratoga last time out was not very good. But like I said, I just think getting back to Belmont Park, where she's been so successful, going at the distance in which she's most comfortable at, she's also been most successful. She's a tournament play if she's 8 to 5 or higher. If she's 6 to 5, 7 to 5, and the 8 horse stays around that 12 to 1, then I think you have some thinking to do. One horse I wanted to say I would hard play against, and that is the 12 Old Harbor. I think that horse is going to be overbet. I think that horse with a good post would not win this race. And with the 12 post, it's definitely not going to win the race. So I'm a hard stance against Old Harbor, and I am more than pleased to say that you did not mention that horse.
Yeah, no, I mean, the post just killed it for me. The low percentage rider, low percentage trainer, there's a lot to go against. This might be his best horse, but, that draw just kills it for me, and I can't take that horse at anywhere near 6 to 1 or even 10 to 1. I just think that outside post is just a killer.
And the thing to me is, I think she'll be less than 6 to 1 because I think someone or the bettors are going to be doing what they normally do, and that's trying to beat the favorite, and they're going to look to the horse that they feel as though has the best chance. And I think a lot of guys are going to feel like the 12 has the best chance, and I could find 2 or 3 horses in this race that I like over Old Harbor.
Absolutely. I'm with you there.
So we're going to move on to Keeneland, which I need your help here, Barry, because I struggled to win at that racetrack, even though I did manage to get a victory last week with Bottle Rocket, which went off at 6 to 1 coming off the pace. So I was hoping I could finally break the seal, if you will, but it hasn't worked out. But nevertheless, race 9, it's a grade 3 stakes race, a mile and a 16th on the turf for $150,000, 3-year-old fillies. A lot of talent in this field, Barry. Where'd you go?
Man, this is as tough as it gets as far as a handicapping affair. I mean, you got horses from overseas, you got horses coming off a layoff, you got horses coming off the dirt, stakes winners, non-stakes winners. This is just a potpourri of talent here. And this is, I mean, this race was almost impossible.
Right.
So anybody in this race, you really could give a shot to.
Which is why we picked this race, though, because these are the races that separate the men from the boys.
That's right. That's what I call them separator races, where you can get that one person that's on a particular horse that could bring you up and beyond and up, all the way, shoot up top to the leaderboard and finishing this A tournament off.
Right.
Or making a nice score at the windows. But with that being said, I'm going to just go into the contenders here. First, I'd like to mention a Prado Sweet Ride number 2. A Grade 3 winner, training very, very well for Chris Block.
12-1 morning line, Barry.
12-1 morning line. Not my pick.
Okay.
But I think this horse is going to give a great account of herself on Saturday. Is gonna get the trip of a lifetime here, but unfortunately, I don't think she's good enough to pull this one off. Next, I'm gonna go to my pick, who is number 6, Stormy Regatta, out of the Clement stable, training very well traveled. This horse has won at several different tracks, I think 4. Just a bang up type horse. Always wins at good prices. I think the horse only won one time as the favorite. Every time else is 6-1 or better, and I think this horse has an excellent chance with my boy Jersey Joe Bravo up. Just has shown some intestinal fortitude in a few of her races, and I think this horse is just a stone cold runner and going to get overlooked again at 12-1. So,
Barry, let's give the viewers a little bit of information. You and I were a part of Twitter earlier this week with DRF Formulator. Joe Bravo has the best ROI of any jockey in the U.S. this year in stakes races. So you can't go wrong with Jersey Joe when the money's on the line.
Absolutely. He's riding his face off right now, and hopefully he can bring one home on Saturday. So, yeah, I just think this horse, I saw this horse run down in Gulfstream in the wintertime, and she was completely dismissed and just ran 2 bang-up races back-to-back.
Right.
Came off and just went in the stakes company and is really showing her stuff. Now, the other horse I'd like to mention is Sunset Glow, the number 10, who I am vehemently against. I will never bet this money, even if the track gave me money. I think this horse is just a complete play against, does not like to finish races off. Although he's been running with better competition, I just cannot play this horse at a short price, even 4-1, which I don't think anybody's going to get. I think she's going to be closer to 2-1, maybe 5-2. But I cannot play this horse, even though Wesley Ward's a great trainer with his go-to rider, Ramon Hernandez. I can't do it.
Barry, anytime I see a horse that goes off at 3-1, 4-1, 2-1, and then you read the lines when they finished second, third, or beat 2.5 lengths was stalk pace weakened, too wide lane flattened. I want no part of horses like that, and no one else should want any part of horses like that either. I mean, this is a horse that you play against in almost every facet of a bet, whether it's a win bet, whether it's a tournament play. Obviously, I'm not going to talk you off of him if you want to put him in a try or a super, but this horse doesn't like to win. This horse is a hanger that beats people and takes a lot of money.
Well, look at his record, or her record, 5 second-place finishes out of 11 starts. That's a second-place finisher. That's an exacta horse.
Speaks for itself. I thought a scary horse, not my selection, and I'm surprised you didn't bring this horse up, was the 13 horse, Miss McDougal. I mean, again, it's Chad Brown, and then it's Julian Leperoux in Kentucky, which he can't ride anywhere else. But in the state of Kentucky, this man is on fire. It started at Kentucky Downs. It's translated over to Keeneland. I think he's second or third possibly in wins behind Corey Lanery right now, who also couldn't win outside of Kentucky. But this 13 horse is strong, especially the last race. Maybe it was because he liked the little cut in the ground. If they get any cut before, if they get any rain to cause some cut before Saturday, I really think you need to look at this 13, who could win on a firm surface. But I'm going with a horse, Barry, that's stepping up in class, that I think may be an overlay, and that is another Karen McLaughlin horse, and that's the 5, Gap Year. This horse is running his 3rd race lifetime on turf, and if you looked at his first 2 turf races, he's improved each start. He was off for a year, comes back in August at a mile, runs a very decent race at 8-1, saved ground, flat and late, but again, what do you expect? That was his first race in a year. Next race, he comes out in an allowance race, same type of company that he was running in the first time, but they stretched him out to another 16th, and he won it very impressively with a hand ride. And you know, once I find a horse that I like, I watch the video. Again, Barry, this is a situation where the numbers say one thing, which is impressive itself. He got a 1:14 time form U.S. speed fig. But I'm telling you, this horse could have ran better numbers, but Joel didn't have to run better because he looked behind him and wasn't nobody there. So
no competition.
You're talking about 3rd off the layoff, McLaughlin Rosario. We talked about those 2 earlier in the show. This horse, I understand stepping up. I understand that she's facing horses that have faced better and have won better races. But I think this horse is going to set a good trip. I'm thinking possibly gets to the rail, follows the 11 that will speed and fade. Joel will get first jump on the rest of the horses. And I think this horse might pay a big price because I don't know if it'll go off 8-1. Because most of the bettors are going to look at allowance 85,000 in a grade 3 race. They're going to dismiss. And I think this horse could win at a big price.
Yeah, I agree. This horse definitely has a shot. And I think you're going to get higher than that 8-1 morning line.
Yeah, but go ahead.
You know, with my thinking here is I'm not sold on this horse being an actual turf horse.
My goodness, what more does he have to do?
I think the horse's pedigree is leaning towards the dirt side, and that's what kind of scared me away here. Not that this horse cannot win this race. Obviously, the horse has talent. I mean, clearly this horse is very talented. They took their time with her, and I think she's going to give a good account. But you know, I'd like to see a little bit more turf pedigree on that horse, especially with only 2 turf starts, period.
Well, here's what I'm going to do. I like what you said about the 6. So I was just going to go 5-13, hit the all button in the last, as you know I like to do in my tribe. But I'm probably going to put the 5 on top, singlet, and then put the 6 and 13 underneath, and then all the last. Again, we're talking about, guys, a race that if you get it right, no matter if it's tournament play or if it's your win wager or some kind of exotic, you're going to be rewarded handsomely, and that's why we chose this race. I don't know about you, Barry, but I looked at the latter part of this card, and this is by far the toughest race.
Yeah, this is by far the toughest race. I mean, look at those 2 runners on the inside there, the foreign horses, Calypso Beat. Even though 30-1,
you don't know what they're going to do.
Exactly. You know, they could just freak on this firm turf over here, and you're like, well, what happened? And just dust everybody at 30-1.
And we talked about this last week too, about how the horses over in Europe, and you agreed with me, they don't necessarily break well and they close. Well, if anyone's been watching Keeneland on the turf, it is favored no speed. I mean, everything's coming off the pace.
Absolutely, just like on the main. So, you know, not without a chance is number 7, who's kind of one of those middle-of-the-road horses, Osela, but could get the job done here. Has shown some speed in his form over in the UK. So, I mean, this is just a loaded race. I mean, I think this might be a key race going forward to look at some runners, even if the winner, you know, kind of dominates. I think this is going to be a key race going forward. So definitely a good race to pay attention to top to bottom.
It is. Before we move on, I wanted to ask you a question about the 7 and get your thoughts on it. Todd Pletcher, first time training this horse. You don't normally see Florent Giroux get on any of his horses. Now, I understand why. Todd Pletcher is mostly based in New York, but Giroux is as hot as any jockey in the country. Does it tell us anything that he chooses to get on a Pletcher horse, or do you think this could be his attempt to build a relationship with the most dominant trainer that we have in the country?
Well, for Frenchie's sake, I hope that it is him trying to build some business, because having Pletcher in your corner is definitely going to bring some money in your pocket if you're a jockey. But I think it was kind of a situation where a lot of the guys were committed, and it seems like, I'm kind of prognosticating.
Well, that's what we're doing here on Tournament Talk.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're paid to do, right?
It seems like he may have gotten this horse late, had no rider, and
not a bad rider to fall on.
Right, exactly. I mean, he dominates in Kentucky. It's the French connection. I mean, it's just bourbon and French guys winning races. So, I'd put him on my horse.
Oh, yeah, especially on the turf. And he's proving more and more each week that he's not just a turf jockey. So I just wanted your thoughts on that. I thought that was an interesting connection, and I just didn't understand why Todd didn't go somewhere else. But it's certainly not a bad fall guy, if you will. And certainly Florin's not a fall guy, but you get what I'm saying.
Absolutely. I mean, all the signs are there. The horse is getting Lasix, first time Pletcher. I wouldn't be one bit surprised if this horse gives a good account, even wins. So, this race is loaded.
Yeah, so I'm on the 5 gap year. Barry, you're on the 6 Stormy Regatta. And I would stress, not only play this in a tournament, but take a shot in an exotic. Because if it hits, I mean, even a 50-cent try, if you can knock out these favorites and you can make a case for almost all this field, you could really be rewarded.
Absolutely.
So let's move on to the last race of tonight's Tournament Talk show, and that is race 7 at Santa Anita. It is the Twilight Derby, $200,000. It's also 2 turns on the turf. It's a 1.8 miles for 3-year-olds and up. Barry, who wins and why?
Did I just hear you say 2 turns on the turf?
Yeah, I mean, I did. I just had this to promote myself there. Follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, isn't that a Twitter handle? Yeah. No, this is a great race. I know in years past this was run on Breeders' Cup Day, this race. So, it's got a little history behind it, even though it's only the 4th running. But I think every running's been on a Breeders' Cup Day. But anyway, I'm going to start here with number 3, Ohm, who I've heard from a lot of people that this is just an exceptional turf horse. And I don't doubt that by any means. The horse is just front-loaded with speed, which turns me off completely. Not to say that this horse isn't the deserved favorite, might win by a pole. But it's just something about this horse being beat by Prospect Park that just doesn't sit well with me.
Now, why does that not sit well with you? Because Prospect Park, before facing Lady Eli and getting embarrassed, which isn't a bad horse to get embarrassed too, was known as one of the most dominant 3-year-old turf horses in the country. So why do you feel like that's a bad loss per se?
Because of where Prospect Park has turned into now. Really nowhere to be found. Lost to good horses. Don't get me wrong. The horse didn't get beat by just any old horse. Got beat by a lot of good horses, but I just don't think that this horse, at least on Saturday, will be the horse that wins this race.
Okay.
I think that the horse is going to give a good account of himself, but I just don't think it's going to be on Saturday as a win prospect. So I'm going to go to my pick, who is number 4, right next to him in the box, Ground Rules. Now, I don't know if Bobby remembers. I had spoken to him during this Del Mar meet about this horse specifically prior to the opening day when it was a complete washout.
Oh, yes.
This horse was pointed to that race to get on the grass that day. They still ran him anyway. He was eased by Kent DeSormo, which is not too much of a surprise. For those that follow me on Twitter, you know what I'm talking about. I think that this horse is out of Smart Strike with a Deputy Minister Dam. I think this horse is bred for the turf and will give a great account of himself on Saturday. Has run great numbers pretty much every time he's run. And I think they were just waiting for him to go on the grass. And I think at 6-1, if I get anywhere close to 6-1, this is going to be my play of the day.
So your opinion is this: since he's going dirt to turf, and he obviously, I'm not saying he hasn't been great on dirt because he's been very good on dirt. Do you see yourself getting an overlay? Do you see more than 6-1 because of the switching surfaces?
Absolutely, and I think Ohm is just going to take a ton of money. And this race, top to bottom, I think sets up for ground rules. The only other horse that I will mention is the 9-horse Second Summer, coming off the layoff for Peter Urton, who's on fire. Mario Gutierrez is on fire.
Yeah.
And this horse has the numbers to run with anybody in this race. Even though he just broke his maiden back on September 6th, I think this horse is on the improve and should give a good account of himself, despite jumping up in class here.
Well, the reason I wouldn't say that I think Ohm is the horse to beat, I read this race, Barry, is horses are going to go out there with him. Now, I just don't think he's going to get that comfortable lead that he may want to get. And I'm not saying that he's accustomed to getting, but, that he wants to get. I think he'll be pushed a little bit, and I think there's going to be some horses that are very good that's going to be trying to come and get him late. And when I initially read the form, now I read it twice. I go through the first time, break down the contenders, then I look at the horses that I actually liked, and then I decide who I'm going to go with from that point. To me, it was between the 1 and the 8. And obviously the 8, for a lot of reasons, Second Summer. Peter Ayrton's hot. Gutierrez is arguably the best jockey in the country right now. And I almost lean with the 8, but I decided to go with the 1 Hunt. Second time in the U.S. Now, I don't like how Mike Smith's riding and haven't liked it for almost a year now. But this horse ran very respectable. First time in America. I liked how she closed late in a mile. Now she extends again, right? It's kind of like the 5 at Keeneland, right? Now it's going from a mile to a mile and a 16th. Save all the ground from the rail. Obviously has been running against some good horses in Ireland. How good? But we know that, how good I don't know, but we know that horses in Ireland, a lot of them are better than what we have over here, especially what we have over here on the West Coast. So I think the 1 stretching out in distance will be a little bit more forwardly placed than what she was last time out. I hope that Ohm has pressure early and Mike Smith can make one run. And when I initially read this race, maybe I'm just completely wrong and reading it wrong, but when I initially read this race, the odds were not out. So I thought the 1 was going to be second choice. I really did, Barry. And then I look up and he's 8-1. That's how much I think the 1's potential is. If the 1 can improve, you got to give me this. If the 1 can improve off the last race at a mile, second start in the U.S., this horse has every right to win this race if Ohm has company up front early.
No, you're absolutely right. And, you're probably right with your initial thought, too, with that horse being possibly second choice. I think the morning line may be a little bit off here.
Okay.
I actually pounded Hunt that first start at Del Mar. Probably should have won, had the lead, deep stretch, and just got nailed by chiropractor. Okay. So, any kind of improvement off of that race, I mean, the horse didn't run for about a month and a half, and any kind of improvement off that, this horse is definitely going to be in the hunt. And the reason why I didn't like it is I was kind of on your line of thinking that this horse might be a little bit shorter in price than I want to take.
Right. Well, I want to correct myself earlier. I believe I said that Second Summer was the 8. Second Summer is the 9, so I apologize there. So to me, it's between the 1 and the 9. I'm probably going to play one of those tries where I go 1-9, 1-9 all, and just pray that Ohm has company early. And if you can get Ohm out of the race completely, I mean, that would be a huge exotic hit for you. So Hunt's my play. Barry, give the viewers your play once more.
Ground rules, number 4. I think he's just going to pick up the pieces late here and show his stuff on the turf.
So as I did last week, I'd like to ask you, at all the races that we talked about tonight, give the viewers your top play of the weekend.
My top play would be Keeneland Race 9, number 6, Stormy Regatta, Jersey Joe Bravo. Bring it home.
Will be the same race. So we're going head to head, Barry, and I am a huge fan of Gap Year. I think third start off the layoff, this horse is going to run its best race yet and pay a nice price. All
right, that sounds good, man. Head to head.
That's right. So that does it for another edition of Tournament Talk. Barry Spears, I'm Bobby Shoemaker, and until next time, good luck.
Only a game. Oh. So get your game on, get your game on.